That's my opinion. I would have said, don't do it. Don't go to Spotify. You're better off more independent. The more independent you can get, the better you are. And even though, now he has small country money and FU money, it's not like before he wasn't phenomenally wealthy. He was still pulling in millions a year before. And I would have said, that's enough. You don't want to take way more money than that, but also potentially lose your independence. And now it looks like they're cracking down on his independence. So that would be my criticisms of Joe in the conversation. Now, what's the end game here? Because that's the other conversation. What is the end game here? And I think the answer is the media wants Joe gone. And there's a lot of people who genuinely want him taken down off of Spotify. Now, even if he is taken down off Spotify, he'll go to some other platform or create his own platform. And I don't agree with other people when they say, hey, his audience will get bigger if that happens. I actually don't agree with that. They're sufficiently demonizing him, and the campaign is so aggressive that it is working to some extent. And I think what would happen is he'd lose like 10 or 15% of his audience and be on a new platform, and he'd be fine. But the media, I don't think they want him on any platform. And we can't get through this conversation without bringing up the immense hypocrisy of mainstream media, because these are the people who sold us Russiagate, which turned out to be totally false. There were many lies told around Russiagate. There was never a reckoning for that. The people who spread the misinformation, never were fired from being on air or suspended or whatever. They sold us the Iraq War. I mean, that was a lie that led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians and led to torture. And the people who pushed the Iraq War ended up getting promoted. The people who were against the war were the ones who lost their platform, like Jesse Ventura, like Phil Donahue, and others. It was mainstream media that sold us this financial crisis. They pretended like, no, it's okay, there's not going to be a crash. And then there was a giant crash. They were giving investing advice, saying, no, keep investing and you're going to be fine. And then everything went belly up. These are the outlets that sold us the whole Jussie Smollett thing. I saw that story. I'm a lefty. I didn't touch it with a 10-foot pole because I thought, that seems fishy. They went all in on that. That was misinformation. Nobody ever...
Hey, Randy.
Accountability over that.
Wow,
CNN
you're the first person to say anything.
Cuomo scandal, where they were, fluffing him up on air and treating him
How
like
is the
a hero.
connection,
At the same
bro?
time, he signed an order to get COVID-positive patients back into nursing homes, which led to countless deaths. I mean, the list goes on and on. I can sit here all day and do this. Joyanne Reed was caught with very homophobic old blog posts, and she said, I was hacked, and somebody put it in there. Hacked? It was in the Wayback Machine. It was archived. What are there, time-traveling hackers? There was no accountability for that. NBC just hired a guy by the name of Stephen Hayes. Stephen Hayes wrote the book saying that Saddam Hussein worked with Al-Qaeda, and that's why we need to do the Iraq War. That is a total lie, based on no evidence. Homeboy wrote a book on it, and he just got hired by NBC. These are deep purveyors of misinformation. Deep purveyors of it. Even on the issue of COVID, early on, Dr. Fauci said, hey, masks don't work at all. Don't wear a mask. Well, come to find out, that's not true. N95 masks work 95 to 99% of the time. A KN95 masks work pretty well, too. Cloth masks don't work as well. They only stop 37% of particulate matter, according to a study that came out of Bangladesh. But he said masks don't work and don't wear a mask. And then very soon thereafter, it was viewed as a fact that you should wear a mask and it'll help protect you from COVID-19. They laughed at the idea of the lab leak theory and called it a conspiracy. Come to find out, that is possible, if not likely, as to how COVID spread. So even on the topic that they go after him for, they spread misinformation just as bad, if not worse. So they want him gone. And the point here is to make Joe super toxic to normie Americans and more apolitical people and people who don't already watch him. And effectively, this has the chilling effect of maybe forcing him to censor himself, because now he's going to walk on eggshells knowing that everybody's going to parse through every single specific thing that he says. And it's an attempt to make the show not what it's supposed to be. And then the other thing is, what's going to happen? Is there ever going to be the next Joe Rogan? The next, podcaster who's really doing their own thing and having these broad conversations? First of all, no company's going to touch somebody like that with a 10-foot pole, and you don't have to be crazy to be open and uncensored like that, because eventually the hammer's going to drop on you. So it has a chilling effect on Discord. So, on discourse, excuse me. So, there you have it. That's what's going on right now with Joe Rogan. That's the entire scandal. And, look, man, I was censored. My podcast from late 2018 was banned. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. And this is what happens with censorship. 113 episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience. Now, the normie perception of this, and the perception, even CNN, they said this on air, and it's not true. The normie perception is, oh, they're just pulling down the episodes where he uses racial slurs. That is not true. There were, I think, 22 times in the supercut where he said the word, and there are 113 episodes that were pulled. You do the math. Now, another misperception is some people might think, well, they're only really taking down the obviously extreme episodes, like, for example, figures like Alex Jones. Maybe you talked about Sandy Hook or something on there, and they don't want to be associated with that. Or Gavin McInnes, the founder of the Proud Boys, or Owen Benjamin, who's now an openly alt-right loser, or this guy Chuck Johnson, this right-wing writer who argued for, literal racism on air, and there are genetic differences or whatever between the races, or Milo Yiannopoulos, who has a whole other bunch of problems, or Stefan Molyneux. But the fact of the matter is, no. You know who else is on that list? Dan Savage is on that list. Mark Maron. Duncan Trussell, a hippie comedian who's to the left of me. TJ Kirk, the amazing atheist, he's on that banned list. Bill Burr is on that banned list. These are all people whose politics, at the very least, lean left. Some of them are pretty far left. And then you know who else is on that list? Yours truly. I made the list. So I've been on Joe Rogan's show 5 times. 4 of those episodes are still up. At least for now. We'll see what happens as time moves on. But the late 2018 appearance that I did on Joe Rogan's show, after I was at Politicon, and I did some debates, and I was on some panels with some Daily Wire people, and I aggressively questioned Chris Christie, and there was a clip that I debuted on Rogan's show that was that. They pulled down that episode. So the episode number is 1187, and I was trying to figure out, Crystal and I were talking about this for a while, trying to figure out, why on earth did they ban it? How could they ban that? Why would they ban that? What exactly was said in the podcast? Now, thankfully, so there's bits and pieces that are still up on YouTube. By the way, thank you. Credit to YouTube for being less censorious, at least on this front. And there's also some other random podcasting outlets that still have it up. So I went back and I listened to the podcast. So here are some of the things we talked about. We, ironically enough, talked about a social media purge that had just happened right before I went on the podcast. There was the Free Thought Project was banned, I think, on Facebook, and then you had Police the Police, which is a police accountability group that was banned, and there was a whole bunch of anti-war outlets that were banned. So we talked about that, and we talked about the slippery slope and the problem with that. And by the way, in the context of that conversation, one of the points I make was Alex Jones was just the tip of the spear. He was like the test case, and nobody likes Alex Jones in polite society. So after he's gone, well, next thing you know, you just open the door, and all of a sudden you're going down to who? Me getting banned, and whoa, would you look at that? So we talked about that. We talked about legalizing marijuana. We talked about the drug war and drug cartels in Mexico. We talked about how the Dem Party needs to be reformed, and I went into detail about what I think Democrats need to do.
And on 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 and on. And his fucking show with Joe Rogan got pulled down. And he's very sad about that. That's what happens, Kyle. That's what happens when you ignore people that are telling you they're getting censored and you don't give a fuck. Because you're next. And now it's happening to you. And I'm really enjoying watching it. And that's the only reason I went live again, was to do that. I lost the other broadcast. Since nobody wants to chat with me, I would have stayed, but nobody wants to chat in my chat. I will cut this one short. Randy, thank you for chatting in my chat. Everybody else, I don't know why the hell you guys aren't chatting. Crazy. But you guys take care. Enjoy your nights. And I will see you tomorrow. Right? Right. Why is Randy the only person in my chat who can chat? What the fuck is up with you guys? Started out so strong tonight. Now nobody can say anything. Not a peep from the peanut gallery. Alright. Have it your way, guys. fucking finished my coffee, man. So that's all she wrote. Oh, Josh. Oh. Was 2 minutes back. Oh, you were 2 minutes back? Oh. Huh. 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 Lol, the look on your face, bro, when I type wrong is priceless. Sorry. Cheers, so much better. Keep it open. No, I don't care how you type keep it open. That was my response to seeing Josh G. That was my response to seeing Josh G come in. Because it didn't, I didn't think anybody else had the ability to type, and then all of a sudden it was Josh G typing. Sorry, Randy. Sorry, it wasn't about you, bro.